Hi guys, happy Friday. It's been kind of an up and down week for me, but overall it's been really good. I'm going to apologize in advance because there's probably some background noise, maybe a little bit more echo than usual. Yes, is upstairs with some friends watching a movie, hanging out. I'm down here recording a video. But today I wanted to talk about something, and my friends and I have been talking about this a bit, and I thought it would be interesting to talk about it here and see what people have to say, what they think. And so sometimes we have this conversation and it's like, would you rather be rich and sad or poor and happy? And do you really have to choose between those things? And the conversation came up as we were talking about the professions that we've chosen, but also the other things that we're passionate about. And if you're really able to have both, but also as you get further along in life and you gain additional responsibilities like a family, children, I don't know, assets like a home, and you want to be responsible in how you treat those things, how you're able to take risk and start over again in a way that doesn't negatively impact your family, but that also doesn't negatively impact your ability to be happy. So I have my phone here because while all these ideas were coming to my mind while I was at work, so I just jotted down some notes. I'm going to read them off and then we can chat about them a little bit. But I just wanted to share and get some perspective on how other people feel about it, but also like what I'm thinking about it. So one is, how can we start fresh when we have responsibilities, children, people who depend on us? And then what if you just feel like you don't have a choice to start over? And are there things that you just have to accept? Like, is it childish or irresponsible to think that you shouldn't have to do things that don't make you happy? Like, I've been told that before. I know I've even said that to people before. But is that fair to say to people that you can't not do something that doesn't make you happy because you need to grow up and be an adult and get over it? Like, is that okay? How do you start over slowly? Sometimes we decide we want to do things and we hope that it's like flipping a switch. That all of a sudden I can decide I want to be an artist, a singer, a banker, an engineer, a writer, and I can wake up tomorrow and that's who I am. But nobody gets anywhere without having to put in the work. And when you have other responsibilities that you care about, the reality is that all of these things take time and effort and patience and endurance and every bit of willpower possible. But if you have no passion about these things, they're definitely not happening overnight. And they're probably not even happening in a lifetime. You really have to commit to them. And I think it's almost like, I actually think it's irresponsible to think that your dreams can happen overnight, that you don't have to put in work to get there. And then another thing I thought about was, does it have to be this massive risk if you're starting over or trying something new? Do you have to like completely throw everything out of the window, screw yourself over in order to like start fresh? Like, do you have to be the hero? Can't you just be, that person who's doing things in a methodical way? Like there's heroism in that. And then also, I remember when I lived in Boston, a friend of mine, she's a jewelry designer, and with her jewelry she used to give out there would be these small cards with quotes. And one of the quotes, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember who it's by, but I've actually held on to it. I know it's somewhere here. And it says, you should never be afraid to be a beginner. And the reason I held on to that was because for some reason in my mind, I always thought there was a time limit on when you could start over or try new things, that after a certain point there was no turning back. But also there was like this shame attached to starting over at an older age, or being that old person in the classroom, or being that older person who's less informed. And I had to grow comfort with being a beginner and sticking myself into uncomfortable situations and reading that continued to remind me, and it eventually got to the point where I didn't need to, carry it around and see it every day. But every time I'm trying something new and I'm getting frustrated by it, I always tell myself that you should never be afraid to be a beginner, because everybody was a beginner once. Everybody had to start from somewhere to get where they are today. Nobody just woke up and that's where they were. Something had to happen. Either they took steps or somebody else took steps for them to be there, but you all have to begin somewhere. So one of the other things that I thought about is, like, one, a lot of times when people say, oh, I'm going to start over fresh, there's this automatic, like, I don't even know how to put this, but there's this automatic assumption that starting over fresh means starting with the struggle and like working your way back. But sometimes there's like happiness and struggle also. I'll tell you guys a story a little later, but I just wanted to say that a fresh start doesn't mean like a sad start or a poor start or a struggle start. It just means a beginning. That's literally all it means. And if you're starting something new, it means you're gaining new perspective, having new experiences, learning and growing, regardless of whatever the outcome is. And I've been trying to do a better job myself of thinking about things that way, that just because everything may not have worked out perfectly, or even if it did, like, the new start was just a new opportunity to learn and grow. And then the other part is, and this kind of goes back to being like rich and sad or poor and happy. Like, I think this is more of like a continuum, like there's this continuum of like sadness to happiness or happiness to sadness, and there's this continuum of wealth. And when I say rich and poor, I'm not necessarily referring to money. I'm referring to like rich in knowledge, poor in skills, however you want to put it. It's not all tied to money. But what I will say is, how do you gain wealth from your happiness? And how do you tie those two things together? Because I do think there's a certain level of happiness that you're able to attain if you can sustain your life while doing things that make you happy. So some people are like, well, profiting from your happiness, that's a little off. But the more and more I think about it and think about what I want for my future, the more I know that happiness, one, only you can create that for yourself. No one else can create it for you. But if you can create a sustainable, happy life, and by sustainable I mean you can live your life doing things that make you happy without like living in an incredibly uncomfortable way, then you're truly, truly winning. So with that, I just want to tell you guys one story tonight. And yes, there's a bit of struggle in it, but who cares? Whatever. I'm going to tell the story. And I'll give a little bit of history first. So growing up, I was actually that stubborn kid who always knew what I wanted to do. I always had it in my mind. There were specific things that I wanted to accomplish, and there was a very clear, defined path on how I was going to get there. And I would work my ass off to do anything that I needed to do in order to make it to that place. So what the translation of that for me was do well in high school, score well on tests, be involved and engaged in things that matter to you, and you'll go to whatever college you want to. Well, guess what? College costs money. So that things didn't quite work out that way. Regardless of my work, that was the first time I was really face to face with the reality of, okay, yes, you can work your ass off and things can still not work out exactly the way you want. But just because it doesn't work out the way you want doesn't mean that there's no possibility for it to work out for you. That being said, after college, my aspiration, what I wanted to do was always somehow tying the creative to the business. I wanted to go to business school, potentially law school, and then I also wanted to go to school for fashion design. So after graduating with my business degree, I said, I really, really want to do this. And on a whim, I randomly applied for a program at Parsons and said, you know what, I'm living in Boston, I'm working right now. If I get in, I'll move. If I don't, I'll figure it out from there. So I applied to the program, and sure enough, I was accepted into the program. So I literally gave my notice at work, packed up my bags, took my very, very, very small savings, and moved to New York. Honestly, I was poor. We filled out our apartment applications. I said I was relocating for my job from Boston to New York. I didn't even have a job. And my sister and I moved in together. Both of us were just trying to make it. She had moved maybe a year or two before, and she was still looking for a full-time job, working temp jobs. And honestly, it wasn't easy. I think we were happy. It was kind of like the happy struggle. We were struggling together, but we were making it. I mean, I was working. I probably had, in a span of 6 months, that many jobs, and whoever had hours for me was who I was working for that day. But you know what? They were the happiest times. Like, she was studying her music and working, and I was doing fashion design and working at whatever work could come my way. And we were making it. We were figuring it out step by step. And the things that helped us was, one, we knew we had to put in the work, so we did whatever work we needed to, and we supported each other. And I'm really grateful for that. I'm really grateful that we were able to, we had always said that one day we'd like grow up and live in New York together, and I'm really grateful for that experience. We were poor. Like, I won't speak for her, but I completely screwed up my credit because I didn't have any money to pay any of my bills for some time. It took me over 6 months to find a full-time job. Accounts that I had that were in good financial standing, all of a sudden they were like frozen. It was like somebody told them I didn't have any money anymore. I mean, I really had limited financial resources outside of the different part-time jobs that I was like busting my ass at. But you know what? I don't regret any of that. I completely started over. I only got through one semester at Parsons before I had to drop out because I just simply couldn't afford it regardless. I mean, there was a moment where I wasn't even sure I could buy the fabric I needed to finish my final, and I ended up getting this like really cheap, crappy fabric. And honestly, my finals, they look like a hot mess. Like, I just couldn't translate what I wanted to, but you know, I don't regret any of that. So fast forward to today, which is like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years later. So many things have changed. One, I have amazing credit. Two, I'm starting a business with my sister, a natural beauty business based on helping small businesses around the world grow, and we're doing this together. I'm married to someone who supports all of these ideas and creative things that I want to do. I have a good job, good friends, and we're all finding our way. And in that time, I've been a beginner multiple times. I'm a beginner every single day, but I don't regret any of that struggle. I don't regret being broke. I don't regret my bad credit. I don't regret being a fashion school dropout. I've been to like 3 different fashion schools. And you know what? I don't have a degree, but I have so much knowledge. So much. And that's helped me in the next steps and different things I want to do. So this long video was all to say that being sad and rich, I don't even know how to put it anymore. Sad and poor, rich and happy is totally not a thing. Thinking that you don't have the opportunity to try something new is totally not a thing. Thinking that you can't start over at whatever stage you are in life is totally not a thing. You know what's a thing? Doing it. Just doing it. That's a thing. Putting in the work. That's a thing. Not being afraid to be uncomfortable. That's a thing. Because let me tell you, I was uncomfortable many times. I was put in situations that, for instance, for me, questioned the things I valued. And I don't think I always made the right choice, but I learned from it, which is why now there are certain things I won't compromise on. I'm completely uncompromising on them. So all this is to say, do what makes you happy. Find a path to get there. It might not be the path that you envision, but there's always a path if you're willing to do the work, be uncomfortable, and possibly start over many, many times. So I'm leaving like this week very, very motivated. It's Friday. I'm a little like hyper and ready to go and ready to do this. I've got a lot to accomplish this weekend. Kickstarter launching tomorrow, so I'll have an update on my post tomorrow, but definitely be sure to check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, listening. I hope this helps you, but I'd love to hear like what you guys think about this topic or anything else I've talked about. So don't forget to leave a comment below, like and subscribe, and also check out our natural beauty channel for our business, and then my husband and I, our channel for traveling the world. He's being a slacker, so we only have 2 videos, but we got much more to come. We're working on it, so look out for that soon. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see all of you guys in the next video. Bye. And they're like turning up. Like, I can't even say that. I'm really bad at slang. I shouldn't say those things in public. But I don't even know what they're watching up there. I guess I should go have some fun. Have a good night. Bye, guys.